How is the preseason going and training camp? You're getting ready for your fourth and final preseason game tomorrow night in Dorchester. What have you seen from the team so far, and how's the team sort of shaping up?
Well, we're definitely happy with the way things are coming together so far. We had a pretty good idea what our roster was going to look like coming into training camp, and so far we've been happy with that. The results haven't necessarily spoken to what we've seen, but we know there's progress being made, and we're excited to get the season started.
And I don't think results really matter during the preseason, right? You're looking for certain things. You're trying to implement new systems. You're trying to get the new players into the Tavistock Braves mindset and how you guys do things. From that perspective, I would imagine it's probably going pretty well so far, Dan.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said there, the preseason is more about kind of building chemistry and implementing systems and structure, and from that point of view, we've been extremely happy with how things have gone and progressed, and we're going to work on it again here tonight at practice, and then we're, like you said, the fourth and final preseason game tomorrow, and that'll help us fine-tune a couple more things.
Who are some of the players who have stood out for you? Obviously, there's a lot of names from last year that people would recognize, but I imagine there's also a lot of new faces in training camp and trying to earn roster spots. Who are some of the kids that have really sort of stole the spotlight and really impressed you and your coaching staff?
Well, we've been obviously happy with our veteran players. We have Josh Boras and Jake Whiffen and Cole Corvo, three overage players who are going to be leaders for us on forward. But in terms of new players, we have Justin Labrie, Drew Kurse, Josh Helgerman from the KW area, and they've all come in and really had good training camps, and we're looking forward to them this season.
Yeah, and Labrie really stands out for me. I know he played a lot of hockey with the Resurrection Phoenix and District 8 athletics locally. They always have a very competitive and very good hockey program at Resurrection. He's played in a number of DA championships. I believe he also played some AA hockey in Waterloo last year. He's obviously one of the kids looking to make the jump. He's a younger kid, obviously, but what have you seen from him specifically, and how did you kind of catch on to him and find out about Justin and how potentially good he could be and how he could fit in with your team?
Yeah, well, Justin specifically, he brings a lot of speed, a lot of skill to the table. We had our scouts were kind of watching some of his games last year, and was a name that we were pretty high on going into our spring camp back in May. Mm-hmm. And he was out there and definitely impressed us further, at which point we were able to get a commitment from him and been able to plug him in to our lineup so far, and so far it's been a good fit.
You talked about Josh Boras, you talk about Cole Corvo, Jake Whiffen. One of the key things this year for you, and he was just so outstanding during your run last year to the Doherty Division title, is Jensen Van Boekel between the pipes. He's back for another year. You know what? Even if you have a younger roster than you did last year, just because obviously you had an older team last year, that's generally how it works. When you win, you have a veteran group. Jensen's going to be the backbone of this team again, right?
Yeah, he's going into his third season now. Obviously, last year, as you mentioned, he got a lot of experience and played very well for us in the playoffs. So he's a big guy, he's an athletic guy. So it's always reassuring to have a goalie like that back there and kind of able to win you some games on his own.
I felt so bad during that Doherty Division Championship Series for Ryan Donat and Josh Boras. And you knew how badly they wanted to be on the ice. Both of them had injuries. They were both up with me with cameras shooting down on the hockey game as you guys were battling the Air Centennials. How's the health of those two kids? I assume they've had a pretty good offseason with Ryan and Josh, and they're probably really, really eager, I would imagine, just to get out there. And like you said, Boras is an overager going into his last year. They just must be, chomping at the bit to get back on the ice.
Yeah, the biggest thing with those two guys is they're two of the biggest competitors you'll meet. So, it was extremely tough on them last year to be sitting out and missing those games in the Doherty Division final series there and in the Schmaltz quarterfinal round against Glanbrook. But, we had a skate back in June, and both those guys, it was their first time back on the ice, and they just looked like they hadn't missed a beat. You could tell they've been putting the work in, whether it's physio or off-ice stuff, and they're just eager to get going, and I know they're both primed to have good seasons for us, so we're looking forward to that.
And Josh was exceptional before he got hurt. At the beginning of last year, he was scoring. He was on fire, scoring goals, all over the place. Really, is that what you're expecting from him this year again, in terms of being one of your scoring leaders? And I assume that's the role that he plans on taking on as well.
Yeah, obviously he's going to be an important player for us. He was the division MVP last season and had a great season statistically, and just another year under his belt. Now even a bigger part of the leadership group, and I'm sure he plans on trying to replicate what he did last year. But I think what we've tried to do over the offseason too is surround him with an even deeper lineup, and hopefully we've been able to do that, and we'll be able to spread some of that scoring out too, so teams can't necessarily key in on one line or one guy so much.
We're chatting with Dan Kalbfleisch, the head coach of the Tavistock Braves, here on the 519 Sports Online radio show on FM 98.5 CKWR. It's hard to believe that the hockey season is right around the corner. The Braves will play their home opener on Friday, September 14th, and they will put that Doherty Division banner to the rafters at the rink, and it's going to be a special night. And they are playing the team that they beat out in the championship last year, the Air Centennials, so that'll be a terrific hockey game. How much are you guys looking forward to that night? Seems like a simplistic question, Dan, but to be able to celebrate that Doherty Division title one more time in front of your home fans, it's just going to be special that night.
Yeah, definitely. The fans really throughout the whole season last year were great, and were with us in waves throughout the playoff run. We really can't thank them enough, but hopefully on Friday night there in a couple weeks we'll be able to kind of tip our cap to them and hopefully begin the next journey to another one.
How much have you seen the interest in the team increase over the last couple of years? That place was packed. It was packed, and you couldn't get a seat for pretty much the entire playoff run. Small town hockey, it works. The fans are passionate. It's about community. And if you haven't been to a game in Tavistock, I highly recommend it, because it's a great night and it's a great fun, and it's good family fun too, right?
Absolutely. Like you said, it's a small town, and I think there's always been great support here in Tavistock. But I think anytime you can add success to that recipe, it just increases the interest. And as I mentioned, our fans were great for us all year last year, and we're hoping for more of the same this season.
Last one before I let you go. How much do you focus on last year's championship? And I know it's really easy to sit back and say, yeah, we had such an incredible run last year, and we got that Doherty Division title, but you don't want it to bleed over into this year too much either, right? This is a new team with new goals and new expectations. So is it a case of celebrating last year's team on Friday, September 14th at home, and then sort of moving the mindset forward into this season? Or are there certain things from last year that you can use as a coach to draw on to say this is what was successful and try to relay it to this year's group?
I think the celebration part of it is more from an organization point of view. Between the coaching staff and the players in the room, our focus is entirely on this season. Obviously there's some returning players, and they know what it took to get to that point. Mm-hmm. But as you mentioned, this team has a new year, new goals, and we're going to be actively trying to improve so that we can take that even a step further.
For more highlights, visit our website, 519sportsonline.ca. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.